Do you always wonder how perfect pencil sleeve like this, be it long sleeve, short sleeve or three-quarter sleeve, are being cut? Well, this video got you covered because in this video we are going to be learning how to draft basic sleeve pattern for short sleeve and then for long sleeve. Without talking too much, welcome to my channel. I'm Oluwatosin and this is Sew with Tosin. If you are new here, you're welcome. To all my returning subscribers, you're also welcome. Thank you so much for always coming back to watch my videos. Guys, you need to understand that to achieve this, the basic measurements required are the sleeve length, the round sleeve at each point, I mean for the short sleeve, the three-quarter length, and then the long sleeve. Then basically, you also need the armhole. So if you are cutting for a short sleeve, all you need is just the armhole and then the round sleeve at the bicep region. But if you are cutting for a three-quarter length, you need the armhole, the round sleeve at the bicep region, and then the round sleeve at the three-quarter length. If you are cutting for a long sleeve, you need the armhole measurement, the bicep measurement, the three-quarter round measurement, and then the measurement around the wrist. So guys, firstly we are going to be starting with the short sleeve. We'll be drafting pattern for the basic short sleeve before moving to drafting for the long sleeve. So to start, I'll be using this pattern paper. Is on fold of 2, and then we are going to be drawing our starting point line. After marking out our starting point line, then you measure 4.5 inches downward. You can also use 5 works perfectly fine too. You can as well use 4.5. In this case, I'll be using 4.5 out. Then I'll connect it into a straight line. The next is from the starting line. I will also measure the round sleeve, but since this is the short sleeve, that point is going to serve as the full length as well, because the whole length of this sleeve is 9. So I'll connect that into a straight line also. So on my starting line, I'm going to go inward with 4 inches from the middle. I'll put a mark at that point. Then on my bicep line, I'm going to measure my round sleeve at that point. For this particular person is 12. So I'll divide it by 2. Then I'll add 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Then moving to the round sleeve, at the whole length of the dress, I'll divide the measurement there by 2 is 11. Then I'll add 1.5 inch sewing allowance. So the next I'll be doing is, you remember that 4 we marked on the starting point line. I'll put my tape rule at that point and then measure from that region to the bicep region. I'll make sure the tape rule is as straight as possible, and then I'll fold it into 2 just like I'm doing in the video. Then I'll put a mark at that point. Hope that's clear enough, guys. Just do what I'm doing. It is not difficult at all. So the next thing I'll be doing is that I'm going to be drawing my cap line. I'm going to be drawing my armhole curve now. You can use your armhole curve, and then you can also use your free hand to draw this. So for the sake of this short sleeve, I'll be using my armhole curve. Then when I'm drafting for the long sleeve, I'll be using freehand method so that you guys can see that both ways you can still achieve drafting your pencil sleeve. So just place your curve the way I'm placing it, and then just join those points together towards the armhole, just like I'm doing. After this, the next is to connect my 2 allowance together down to the whole length of the sleeve. Just connect the allowance together, not the actual measurement. It's the allowance points, the 2 allowance points that are joining together. And then I'll just go ahead to put a line at the armhole region, which also serves as the full length of the sleeve in this case. After then, all you have to do is just cut it out. At this point, our fitted sleeve, or sorry, our pencil sleeve is like 90% ready. So moving ahead, because for sleeves and for armhole, the front piece, the front side is always a little bit shorter than the back side. So I'll come inward with 1/2 inch all across the front region from the middle towards the armhole. I'll just put a mark at 1/2 inch all across, and then I'm going to connect the points together and then I'll trace that part out. I'll cut it out. I'm not going to cut with the back. I'm cutting just one side, just like I did. So when I transfer this to my main fabric and then I get to my sewing machine to sew, I know that the part that is short is the front and the longer part is the back. So moving over to the long sleeve now, firstly I'm going to be drawing out my starting line just like I did for the short sleeve. The next is I'll go downward with 4.5 inches, which I said you can also use 5 inches can serve as well. I'll connect that into a straight line. Then from the starting point as well, I'll be measuring my elbow line. In this case I'm using 12. Then I'll put a mark at that point and also connect it into a straight line. Then from the starting point as well, I'm going to figure out the whole length of the sleeve. In this case, you remember I said it's 23, so I'll be marking my 23. Then I'll connect that point into a straight line as well. It's that simple. Guys, please, if you've not subscribed to this channel, please support me by subscribing. Thank you. So the next is on my starting line, I'll go inward with 4 inches. I'm repeating this in case you didn't get it when I was explaining at first when we were drafting for the short sleeve. So just go inward with 4 inches, put a mark at that point on the bicep line, measure your round sleeve at that point. In this case now is 12. I divided it by 2. I added 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Then measure from that 4 inches downwards from the starting line to the bicep line. Whatever answer you get, divide it by 2 or just fold your tape rule into 2 to make it easier, and then put a mark at that point. The next is round sleeve around the elbow. Divide it by 2. This person's zone is 11. I divided it by 2. I added 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Hope you know that you can use 2 inches. You can use 1 inch as your sewing allowance. It depends on you. Then around the wrist, hers is 7. I divided it by 2. Then I added 1.5 inch sewing allowance. So guys, the next is to draw the armhole curve. You remember I said for this long sleeve I'm going to be using my freehand method so that you can see that even if you don't have the armhole curve or you're at a place that you don't have access to it, you can still go ahead to cut your pencil sleeve. So just connect the points together with your hand as I'm doing. Even if you are cutting directly on your fabric, it's still the same process regardless of the nature of fabric you are working on, except it's a stretchy material. That's when you might not need to add your sewing allowance, or you can just add half-inch sewing allowance. As long as it's pencil sleeve you are cutting, it's still the same process. So then connect the allowances together, the 3 allowances, connect them together, and then go ahead to cut this out. So after cutting it out, guys, the next is to reduce the front region with like ½ inch. So just measure ½ inch around the front region and then join those points together, and then you go ahead to cut it out. It's a very simple process, guys. So basically that is it for the pencil sleeve pattern for the short sleeve. And if you are cutting a 3/4 length, it's still the same process. All that differs is the length. It's just the length that differs. So that is it, guys. So this is the short sleeve pattern and this is the long sleeve pattern. So the next is to be sure that this armhole curve you just went ahead to draw without measuring, it's enough to go around the armhole. This person's armhole is 17, then I measured 8.5. I still have like 1 inch allowance left. Then for the long sleeve too, you can go ahead to measure the armhole curve to be sure that it will be enough, it will go around. So this is the short sleeve and this is the long sleeve. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and then give this video a thumbs up. Share this video amongst your soulmates. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.